Well, folks, here it is, the iPad Air 5th generation, now with an M1 chip. I'm sure you've already seen reviews on this thing at this point, so I'm not going to tell you all the stuff that you already know, like the fact that it has the M1 chip, like the fact that it can be offered with 5G, or that it now has center stage, because you already know that stuff. But what I want to talk about today is why Apple right now cannot make a new iPad that is compelling enough to buy. That's right, I don't think you should buy this thing, and today I'm going to tell you why. So make sure to get subscribed, to leave a like down below, and let's get started. Today's video is sponsored by Declutter, the very challenge to this iPad Air 5 that we're reviewing today. They offer countless refurbished iPads, iPhones, MacBooks, and other tech that could make you think twice before buying something brand new. Declutter is the world's largest third-party reseller on Amazon and eBay, with thousands of tech products at very low prices. With free shipping and a 12-month warranty included on all of their products, it does make you wonder. They offer iPad Pros that cost far less than the new iPad Air, or offer dramatically more storage for the same price. It's kind of a tall order to beat. So if you're intrigued and you want to check out Declutter and save even more, you can use the link in the description below with coupon code LUKE10 to get 10% off all tech. With deals like this out there, can the iPad Air compete? Well, to find out, let's get back to the video. So I have actually yet to unbox the iPad Air, as you can tell by its plasticiness. I thought they were getting rid of that, right? All the other boxes that Apple's been shipping don't have plastic around them, but the iPad remains. So let's go ahead and pull this thing out. And here we have the iPad Air. I got it in purple, the color that yours truly happened to leak the day before the event, so I figured I had to get it. This box doesn't feel like up to Apple's standard of quality. Here is the purple. What the heck? Mine's in the box upside down. I pulled it out like this. Camera's over here, the camera hole is down here. The box is right side up. The pamphlet's upside down. What? Maybe this is their way of getting back at me for leaking the color. Sorry about that. And already we have come to the first of the reasons why Apple can no longer make a compelling iPad. And the reason is this: the iPad Pro 2018. So this one's brand new, this one's 4 years old. New iPads are unnecessarily powerful. The M1 chip was as unnecessary in the 12.9-inch iPad Pro last spring as it is here now. So yes, it's great that you can get an iPad Air with an M1 chip for $599. This is by far the cheapest M1 chip. Or I guess not by far, it's by $100, right? And the thing is, I've seen a lot of reviews that have talked about the iPad Air and said either you should just spend the extra $200 to get the iPad Pro, or this is like an iPad Pro for $200 less, so you should buy this. And I think you should do neither of those things. I don't think you should buy a new iPad at all, full stop. Because every time a new iPad comes out, my advice or my thinking has always been, oh, well, now you can buy the old one for less. So I think what we need to do now is get to know the iPad Air 5th generation a little bit better. Does the M1 chip actually make all that much of a difference for typical iPad tasks? And if not, what should you buy instead? Okay, so as promised, I have spent a couple of days using the new iPad Air, and the question was, is it justified? Does this new update make a difference? And the answer to that is no, absolutely not. In my opinion, there is only one reason that you would buy the M1 iPad Air, and that is, quite simply, future-proofing. And to be honest, I don't think that's the most effective way to go about making a purchase decision. Apple will almost certainly support this thing forever and ever. Right now, they support the iPad Air 2, which came out in 2014. So, okay, 8 years of software updates on this guy. So that would put you at 2030 before you'd have to get a new iPad. And you could argue that the 2018 iPad Pro would no longer be supported in about 3 years. So maybe for $500 you get 3 years of software, or for $600 you get 8 years. That seems fair, and it might honestly apply to you, but I don't know. I feel like planning 8 years in advance is just really hard to do. I mean, think of what has changed in the world of Apple in the past 8 years, right? I really don't think future-proofing is the best argument for making a purchase decision. And plus, you could also just get the previous, just discontinued 4th generation iPad Air, which came out in 2020, and would therefore get updates until like 2028. Now, as far as the iPad itself, I did want to touch on one thing that I saw some users complaining about, and that is build quality. And to be honest, I have noticed a bit of a difference. This iPad compared to this iPad, the 2018 model, there's something about it that just feels a little off. Maybe it's a thinner aluminum that they're using. Maybe it's just not as well put together or something. But I have noticed the odd creak out of the back here, which is not something that you really want to see. And more importantly, I've noticed some weird like screen flex issues. So if I put my thumbs on the back of this display and press in, you can see pretty much nothing happens. It's rock solid. There's not a lot of flex. Whereas with the iPad Air, if I do the same thing, you might be able to see the LCD like waving or distorting. I don't know what the term for that would be called, but it definitely seems like structurally there are some differences between the Air and the Pro. These are just things that come with an iPad that sort of feels like it was developed to be intentionally worse than the iPad Pro. And I understand that that's how most things work in technology, but it's just kind of weird. It feels like you're intentionally buying compromises, like the screen. It's 10.9 inches. Why? To save money? No. To make the bezels thicker so it looks worse, which makes you want to buy the iPad Pro. If they had fitted an 11-inch screen without ProMotion, people would have looked at it and said, oh, well, it looks the same to me. I don't care. I'm just going to buy that. So they made the screen a little bit smaller just because they knew that a couple of people would be swayed by that bezel size to jump up $200 and pay for the iPad Pro. But to be clear, I don't think you should do that either, because the whole thesis of this video is that Apple has a problem right now with the iPad, and that is that whatever they're making, it's just not frankly compelling enough to buy a new one. Every time something new comes out, it makes you just think, oh, cool, now the old one's cheaper and I can just buy that. So it's up to Apple at this point. Can they make a device that is good enough to once again inspire people to buy it new? The 2018 iPad absolutely did that. It was fantastic, so good that 4 years later they still can't top it, and they still can't make something that's a better value or a better buy. So the challenge now for Apple is, can they do it again? So I'm curious to know what you guys think. Is the iPad Air 5th generation a good value, or should you just wait for these to show up on stores like Declutter, the sponsor for today's video, which was also the provider of this 2018 iPad Pro that I've had for almost 2 years now and absolutely love? It's up to you. You know what else is up to you? Leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. So do those things if you want to, and I'll see you guys in the next video.